Oh, what is that? This is the Sony Betamax.
20. Juicero. When it launched back in 2016, the Juicero press promised to deliver, quote, the best juice ever.
Shut the door of the press. You will hear a lock after you close it.
Well, at least for anyone who could afford the $699 price tag. Yeah, you heard that right. $700 for a juicer. Then again, it was Wi-Fi connected. Yay. Investors, including Alphabet Inc., sank $120 million into the company. But slow sales led Juicero to reduce prices to $399, which is actually still really expensive. Then, in April 2017, a Bloomberg story revealed a surprising discovery. You could just squeeze the juice packs into a glass, without paying $400 to have a machine do it. Humans are lazy, but not that lazy, and Juicero shut down later the same year. Number 19. Samsung Galaxy Fold. In 2019, foldable phones were supposed to revolutionize mobile devices. And maybe they still will, but the initial launch of the Samsung Galaxy Fold did not help argue the case.
Artfully encased in its refined, durable body, Fold's spine articulates with the strength and precision of luxury timepieces.
After the phone was unveiled in February 2019, people couldn't wait to get their hands on it. The first reviews were decidedly mixed, however. While praising the performance, reviewers criticized the device's overall fragility, in particular the plastic-coated screen and gaps that let in dust and water. CNET went so far as to describe the inside as, quote, toy-like. Not really what you want from a phone that cost $1,980. Pre-orders were canceled and refunded, and Samsung has since made improvements, but don't expect the Galaxy Fold to, quote, reshape the future. Number 18. Juju.
I mean, it looks cool.
Even before this tablet's launch in 2010, developer Fusion Garage was under a cloud of negative press. The device was originally the brainchild of TechCrunch founder Michael Arrington, who called it the Crunchpad. But Fusion Garage decided to just cut him out of the deal, leading to a massive lawsuit. When Fusion Garage released the tablet anyway, the Juju was universally panned for its criminal lag, 5-hour battery life, and uncreative interface. Further criticized was its failure in portability, thanks to unwieldy dimension specs.
Its elongated form isn't great for portability either, and as far as tablets go, the Juju is pretty big.
As a result of poor sales and litigation, the Juju ultimately gave Fusion Garage their own short battery life when the company filed for bankruptcy a few years later. Number 17. Sinclair C5.
The Sinclair C5, £399.
Marketed as a one-person, quote, electrically assisted pedal bike, this now retro-looking tricycle takes the shape of a pod straight out of an 80s film's vision of the future.
A safe, reliable, pollution-free electric vehicle which can be driven on the road by anyone.
Designed with portability and space-friendliness in mind, the Sinclair C5 was advertised as an alternative to cars and bikes.
That needs no license, no road tax, and you can drive whether you're 14 or 40.
However, in the end, the C5 was impractical for consumers due to its low speed range, shoddy weather endurance, and awkward control scheme. This led to poor reviews and even poorer sales, and finally a cease in production less than 7 months after its launch. It then notoriously became known as, quote, one of the great marketing bombs of post-war British industry. Ouch.
For wet weather, there are side panels in a range of colors, and a designer-styled weather cheater to keep you warm and dry.
Number 16. Palm Foleo.
This is the beginning of a product family for us, and we can see it going in many directions.
Designed to be what would have been the market's first netbook device, Palm's simple, slick, and ultra-convenient laptop was a complete failure at launch. Announced in 2007, this Linux-based sub-notebook was built to serve as a companion for Palm Trio users, featuring the same email, organizer, and web browsing software the phones were noted for.
What we want to do is bring that large screen and full keyboard to the data that's on your smartphone.
A little over 3 months after its announcement, the Foleo ceased further development following a multitude of negative reviews from critics and a drastic decline in the company's revenue in the face of the smartphone wars.
When we started this company in 1992, it was based on a very simple vision, that the future of personal computing would be mobile.
Meanwhile, in 2009, the Trio was replaced by the Palm Pre, which, despite initial promising sales, eventually led to Palm's acquisition by HP.
In the future, people can have these very powerful portable computers in their pocket.
Number 15. Orkut.
Now you can share almost any page with a single click using the Share on Orkut bookmarklet.
Named after its developer, this social networking site was founded on the same premise as every other one in existence: to stay in touch with family and friends. At one point, one of the most visited websites in America, Orkut appeared to be well on its way to replacing MySpace, which in the mid-2000s was a very big statement. However, as controversy began to stir around the site for its concerns with privacy, fake profiles, and hate group pages, the site dwindled in popularity, seeing a massive drop in active US users. This would lead the site to lose the battle with, well, every other social media platform, and eventually Orkut was totally shut down in 2014.
If you've never heard of Orkut, you're probably not alone. While the site did garner some success, the Economic Times reports a majority of the users were from Brazil and India.
Number 14, the Apple Pippin.
Apple is betting that the TV will be the preferred viewing device with a new approach to home computing called Pippin.
When you think of classic 90s gaming, Apple doesn't exactly spring to mind. The Pippin technology platform was licensed to Bondi Company Limited, which advertised its Bondi Pippin model as a gaming console. However, they sold less than 50,000 units, so it isn't that surprising. Depending on your point of view, the system was either an overpriced console or a cheap computer. Stateside, the system offered just 18 titles, but it did offer players the opportunity to connect to the internet, or as it was known at the time, the net. Unfortunately, very few people had an internet connection up to the demands of online gaming, making the Pippin a pretty useless purchase and underwhelming experience. Number 13, Betamax, also known as Beta.
Oh, what is that? This is the Sony Betamax.
Long before the DVD slayed Laserdisc and Blu-ray crushed HD DVD, there was the first home video format war: Betamax versus VHS.
You just select the channel you want, and with Trinitron, you get the best picture possible.
Introduced in the US 6 months after its release in Japan, Betamax involved a 6-inch wide video cassette that was much smaller and lighter than its VHS counterpart. Initially, it drew attention with the console's home recording capabilities.
With the Sony Betamax and the portable Sony videotape camera, you can do just that. You can record what you want when you want, and watch what you want when you want.
Still, despite Betamax's superior image quality and smoother console engineering, it was ultimately VHS that was crowned the victor by consumers, mainly for its superior playing speeds and longer running times.
It's the best family entertainment on television.
One more shot, Ma. Come on, smile.
Number 12. Google+.
You know, like in your head, you assign everyone these roles, and like you think, you know, like these are the people that matter and these don't, and then like once you like step back and get away from that, you realize, oh, these are the people that were actually there for me.
As the company's fourth attempt into social networking, Google+ was founded with a slightly different take on keeping in touch by allowing users to group friends, photos, and communities into circles. That said, it was basically Google Wave with a new name, new interface, and removed features in place of less than innovative new ones. In 2018, a massive security breach exposed private data from over 500,000 accounts on their website, leading Google to begin a multi-phase shutdown process. As of July 2020, all applications connected to Google+ were replaced by a new Google product called Currents. Number 11, the Apple III.
Apple, the personal computer.
Complete failures are quite rare, but Apple found a way to do the improbable. Replacing the Apple II, the Apple III was meant to push the company into the business sector. Instead, this faulty device led to near financial ruin. Partially due to Steve Jobs' inflexible demands and instructions to not include a cooling fan, this device suffered from overheating and would break down after a couple of hours of use. This was particularly problematic since it was targeted towards businesses rather than hobbyists and enthusiasts. Software for the Apple III was also scarce, and the computer got dismissal reviews right out of the gate. Number 10, Amazon's Fire Phone.
With, the flick of your wrist, you can get an additional menu.
Following the astonishing success of their Kindle Fire ebook readers and Fire tablets, Amazon looked to further expand their Android-based Fire OS family by setting its eyes on the cell phone market. Announced as an AT&T exclusive in mid-2014, Amazon's take on the smartphone came with several neat innovations, including the dynamic perspective feature for apps and games, and Firefly, a text, sound, image, and object recognition tool.
It's almost like the world is a hyperlink.
Nevertheless, the Fire Phone was met with underwhelming reception in sales.
Oh yeah, New Amazon Fire Phone. It comes with Amazon Prime. Tons of cool stuff for no extra charge.
Really? Thus, it was quickly dropped by retailers and even pulled off of Amazon's own store the following year. Not so hot for a device with fire in its name.
Fire Phone, the first smartphone designed by Amazon.
Number 9. DMark Broadcasting Acquisition. Never even heard of this company? You're not alone. Anticipated by Google to grow from its $102 million purchase price, DMark was supposed to be the brand that would finally get Google's stagnating radio advertising initiative to spread like wildfire.
What helps me get up in the morning is the radio.
However, wary of Google's dominance in online advertising, marketers and radio companies were reluctant to work with the company. So the unit floundered. Despite being one of the more promising startups, Google's woeful integration made DMark fizzle, even though remnants of it were eventually integrated with Google's AdSense program.
Log into your account today, create your first ad, and see what AdSense can do for you.
Number 8. The backfiring clone licensing.
It's a whole new world for Apple these days. Mac clones, a new OS on the horizon, fierce competition.
With Microsoft dominating the PC market by licensing out their operating system, Apple tried to close the gap by doing the same thing with their Macintosh. The idea was to provide a cheaper means for consumers to get used to Apple's system, but the clones were often more advanced than the Macintosh computers. Unlike Microsoft, who were mainly into software, Apple's decision just resulted in an oversaturated market that threatened to leave them in the dust. With Motorola preparing to launch their Mac-based G3-powered StarMac 6000, Apple opted to stop the licensing program to save themselves.
I went to the clone vendors and I said, guys, we're going to go broke.
Number 7. Philips CDI.
You'd probably feel pretty dumb and maybe even fake it like you'd already experienced the ultimate in games, movies, music, and more.
Most of us remember Apple's video game console fail, the Pippin.
All right, and a Pippin CD will run on a Mac or run under Windows?
That's right, we'll certainly run on a Mac.
And who can forget Nintendo's dreadful attempt to pass off the Virtual Boy as a quote-unquote portable console?
Virtual Boy, see it now in 3D.
However, the biggest out-of-character product fail is none other than Philips with their Compact Disc Interactive.
Insert disc and close.
Has anyone even heard of this? Panned for its graphics, game titles, and controls at the time, it has been consistently ranked as one of the worst gaming systems ever to be put on the market.
This is CDI, Compact Disc Interactive.
Intended to compete with fourth-gen giants like Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, the CDI was ultimately a commercial failure that cost Philips to lose over $1 billion.
I get it. This is cool. All right, so try serving.
Number 6. Blockbuster Total Access.
Hey, I don't have to wait.
Created in response to the then rising media empire that is Netflix, Blockbuster Total Access was built with convenience in mind.
What if you're thinking, let's watch another movie right away? With Netflix, you mail them back and wait.
Carbon copying Netflix's DVD by mail strategy, Total Access also permitted subscribers to return their rentals to a brick-and-mortar location in exchange for new titles in or out of their queue.
Say hello to Blockbuster. They deliver movies right to your mailbox, too.
However, despite surpassing its subscriber quota, the program quickly failed because most independently owned Blockbuster franchises declined to honor the service.
You're just a mouse click away from a better way to rent movies.
One major franchise even took the company to court, alleging that Total Access breached contract terms. Throw in a patent infringement lawsuit from Netflix, and you've got quite the product fail drama worthy of a film adaptation.
Netflix was basically, get what you want when you want it, and knew that they would move away from the DVD business to the download video business.
Number 5. Apple Maps.
Beautiful, beautiful maps.
To compete with Google Maps, Apple released their own version in 2012. While things eventually improved, Apple Maps got off to such a rocky start that the company's CEO publicly apologized. The application's biggest issues included misspelled place names, an inability to differentiate from cities that shared names, out-of-date information about stores and places of interest, and completely wrong locations and directions. Pretty damning problems for a map app. Famously, the app left several users stranded in a hot Australian park 40 miles from their intended destination. While Ireland's Ministry of Defence had to warn consumers that a non-existent airport was showing up near Dublin, Apple would eventually fix over 2 million errors in the app. So, yeah, huge fail.
Don't tell me this is Zune bad.
I'm sorry, Gavin. It's Apple Maps bad.
Number 4. The Zune.
So you can actually share your files with other Zuners. Zuners, is that a word? I'm not really sure.
Even the world's largest computer company isn't safe from the occasional ouchie. What with its track record of flops that includes the Spot Watch and the Kin.
Kin, a Windows phone born to manage your social life, living only on Verizon.
But who can forget the Zune? Despite impressive reviews from critics and users, Zune's entrance into commerce came at a time when its primary competitor, guess which one, had already established a borderline monopolized foothold in the market.
It's so thin, it's so sleek, it's so lightweight, and it's perfect for you on the go.
This, coupled with inferior marketing strategies, mediocre software support, and a lack of innovation, sent the Zune straight to Flopsville, with the devices pulled from production in 2012 and the remaining services retired in 2015. Number 3. Google Glass.
Tap the touchpad to wake up Glass.
So far, we've covered tablets, laptops, and gaming consoles, but who would have ever thought that eyewear would find its way onto this list, and from Google no less?
Whatever happened to Google Glass?
It's still out there, but you know what? Sales of Glass stop at the end of this month.
Though certainly an innovative and dandy device, the Google Glass prototype was ultimately a failure for its not-so-wallet-friendly price tag, lack of special features, and the legislative actions it sparked due to privacy and safety concerns.
Hey man, you almost here?
I have no idea.
Dude, what happened to your face?
I ran into a couple walls.
Moreover, the product failed to impress most users, with many calling the device more of an intricate eyesore than a convenience.
The display should be above your line of sight. Yep. Just like that.
Google announced they'd cease production of the prototype in early 2015. And though the company plans on continuing to develop it, Google Glass is one of the fastest product flops ever to be released, tech or otherwise. Number 2. Samsung Galaxy Note 7.
This is a phone that becomes part of who you are.
Soon after its much-hyped release in August 2016, this phone was on fire, but not in a good way. Before launch, there was huge buzz around the Galaxy Note 7, with glowing reviews and record-setting pre-orders. Then the phone started exploding.
The last thought in my head is that a brand new device is going to burn down my car or my house.
A manufacturing defect caused the batteries to overheat and burst into flames. As reports spread, Samsung was forced to order a recall in September. Talk about bad PR. But wait, it gets worse. Samsung replaced the phones, only for the replacements to also catch fire. In October, they ceased all production of the Galaxy Note 7. The whole fiasco cost them billions of dollars and left their reputation in crispy tatters. Number 1. Theranos Edison machines. How do you fool investors out of $700 million? Apparently, just talk in a really deep voice and promise them a miracle.
We've designed it to allow for the same operations that a technologist could do in a laboratory.
Elizabeth Holmes was 19 when she founded Theranos in 2003. She told investors that her Edison machines could perform blood tests quickly and cheaply with only microscopic amounts of blood. You know the saying, good, fast, cheap, choose two? Holmes claimed that her Edison devices did all three. There was no peer-reviewed evidence that they worked, yet she became a media darling, and Theranos was valued at $10 billion. Well, guess what? The emperor was not wearing any clothes.
At the highest level, we didn't have the right leadership in the laboratory.
The Edison machines didn't work. Theranos was making up their profits, and in 2015, a whistleblower brought the whole thing crashing down.
And you could quickly tell that it couldn't run hundreds of tests. It couldn't even run 2 tests at the same time.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.